What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, today's video we're going to be talking about Wolverine, number 11 by Benjamin Percy and Scott Eaton. And in this video, we are going to learn exactly how far the Vampire Nation is willing to go to get their hands on Wolverine, and more importantly, how far they're going to push Omega Red to achieve that end. And we're also going to learn that Wolverine has some strange bedfellows now after taking a break from hunting vampires and getting back to brass tacks. We're going to talk about all this and more right now, but first, let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Ever since Ten of Swords kind of came in and interrupted a lot of the story arcs that were going on with Dawn of X and then leading in to Reign of X, one of the things that kind of fell by the wayside was Wolverine's vampire hunt. And we learned that in the pages of Wolverine number 11, Wolverine has in fact resumed his vampire hunting shenanigans. He has been cutting a swath across the United States, hitting up everywhere from Minneapolis to Detroit to Chicago to Buffalo. He has literally been going all over the place, and the reason why Wolverine has made himself such an effective vampire hunter is because he's had Sage create an algorithm, something that will follow all of the different anomalies going on right now with hospital admissions, police scanners, missing persons cases, missing pet cases, livestock anomalies, blood bank supplies, and autopsy reports being used as variables, and this is what has led him down this murderer's row of vampires, and for all intents and purposes, has made him just about as effective of a vampire hunter as Blerd. The trouble is that it's still not enough. This is something that even Beast has taken notice of. The fact that this is not going to be the only way. Going after the vampires and just cutting their heads off and killing them wherever they happen to be is honestly not the best way to handle this. And one of the things that Beast actually posits that Wolverine is hard stop not going to go for is Beast thinks that they should actually allow the Vampire Nation to get a hold of Wolverine. And I think this is actually kind of an incredibly reckless plan when you consider the fact that we already know the Vampire Nation wants Wolverine because of his DNA. His blood would allow any vampire to become a daywalker. Now, of course, I don't think Beast is saying that they're going to allow the Vampire Nation to actually capture Logan, but giving the impression that they will. And Wolverine is hard stop not in for it. It's not going to happen because Wolverine has other ways of getting to what he wants. And one of those ways is going to be Luis, who we met in Wolverine number 1's double issue. A vampire hunter who works for the Night Guard, only there's one really bad problem about Luis right now. You see, since the last time we saw Luis, she now harbors a very deep, very dark secret. Luis, now once again a member of the Night Guard was betrayed by its leader, Father Cole. Father Cole had become a vampire and had basically set up the Night Guard to be overrun by vampires. And though Luis claims that she was very likely the only one who made it out alive, it's actually not true. She didn't make it out alive at all. When Wolverine is walking with her through the streets of Paris, we discover that Luis, while trying to help an old woman who has stumbled and hurt herself, revealing that the old woman is now bleeding, Luis's face goes all Buffy the Vampire Slayer mode, and we learn that she is in fact a vampire. Wolverine is immediately ready to try and kill her, but we discover that Luis has actually been trying to fight off the infection. She has been inundating herself with inoculations of garlic and water, but ultimately she will become a vampire. It's only a matter of time, and she wants to kill as many vampires as humanly possible before she turns. What makes matters worse, though, is that Wolverine, kind of understanding where Luis is coming from, not being able to maintain control of herself, Wolverine being a character who is quite familiar with that particular problem, he ultimately relents and he maintains working with her. However, he's also allowing her to drink his blood, effectively making her a daywalker, if only temporarily. The effects of his blood don't last. And this is the reason why Dracula is going so hard after Wolverine, and why Krakoa is so steadily keeping tabs on Omega Red, because we already know that Omega Red is a sleeper agent for Dracula. We have known this as early as Wolverine #1, and X-Force discovered this little tidbit back in X-Force number 15. Right now, they are following Omega Red, who, for all intents and purposes, is kind of made to be a sympathetic character in this regard. He is treated a little bit differently in this compared to some of the previous issues of Wolverine where we have seen him. He is kind of not okay with the idea of being a pariah on Krakoa. He kind of seems to not want to be a part of this plan, and he kind of seemingly has a suspicion that he has been found out and that he knows the other mutants don't accept him, that they see him as a monster. Something that we witness early on when we see him interacting with the children who were spying on him, treating his area of Krakoa as though it is haunted by some monstrous creature and that he is the monster that haunts them. Ultimately, Omega Red goes through a great deal of trouble to throw everyone off the scent back in X-Force as to where he is going, traveling by plane and then ultimately diving into the ocean to get back to Chernobyl to return to his master, Dracula. And at first, it seems concerning that Dracula seems to think something may be off when Dracula uses his abilities to try and figure out whether or not Omega Red has truly been made. He seems to buy that Omega Red has not been turned against him. Now, bear in mind, Omega Red has no clue what has actually happened. Dracula seems to be under the impression that Charles Xavier may have tried to hide his own influence from Dracula, but that's actually not the case. You see, Omega Red can't tell Dracula anything because he doesn't know anything. Dracula's mesmerism and his ability to read minds isn't exactly like with a character like Jean Grey or Psylocke or Emma Frost or even Charles Xavier himself could accomplish. They can actually find the things that a person knows even if they don't. Dracula, his is more of a knowing what the other person actually knows. And this is all due to the fact that Omega Red was in fact killed and resurrected. He has no memory of anything. Those memories were not implanted back into him when he was resurrected, so basically Omega Red is a fresh slate. And the carbonadium synthesizer built into his body, Dracula, as far as he's aware, it has not been tampered with. Now, of course, Omega Red himself has even said that he can't keep doing this. He can't keep going on like this. Eventually, at some point, all of this is going to fall apart. But Dracula is willing to give up something, at least he is feigning as though he is willing to give up something that might just make the mutants turn their head, and that's Russia. The reason why he's offering up Russia is because Russia is one of the places, one of the countries in all of the world who have rejected Krakoa. Dracula can offer up Russia on a silver plate. We have noticed in the past, especially in issues of Marauders and even in some issues of Wolverine and of X-Force itself, that Russia has kind of been going hard body. After Krakoa, we've seen them send their Russian nesting dolls, super soldiers. After X-Force, we have seen the Marauders go toe-to-toe with Russians in very Iron Man-esque armor with mutant power dampeners. Russia wants nothing to do with Krakoa, and I think the even more telling notion here is that we also know that Mikhail Rasputin wants nothing to do with Krakoa, and he has chosen Russia over Krakoa and is basically helping Russia try to take Krakoa down. Now, once again, Dracula is deadly serious here. He wants Wolverine's blood, and he's going to get it by any means necessary. He has had experiments on people left and right to try and create the perfect vampire, and he's not planning on stopping anytime soon. And more importantly, we know that Omega Red has already been sent back with a message for Krakoa, but the question is he actually going to make the offer that Dracula told him to make, or is Omega Red going to tell X-Force something that Dracula does not want Krakoa to know about? That is something that's going to be a real major question here. I'm curious to see exactly, even if Omega Red does go along with the plan, if he does actually offer Russia up on a silver platter, how is this going to affect all the other story threads with Russia going on as far as Marauders and with X-Force? I wonder how all that's actually going to play out, and I'm even more curious to see what Luis's long con is, because I got this sneaky suspicion that she's not being entirely truthful. I mean, she lied about being a vampire. What else is she hiding from Wolverine? And we also know that the Night Guard is still watching over them, because when we did go back, let's go back and take a look at that shot of Wolverine allowing Luis to feed. One of the other Night Guard is watching over them. them. Now, whether that Night Guard member is a vampire or not is an entirely other story, but once again, I love what's going on here. I really appreciate the fact that Benjamin Percy has been going all in on this whole Vampire Nation storyline that started with Avengers, Jason Aaron's Avengers, and he is bringing it back here with Wolverine, and I'm totally in for it. I can't wait to see how this is going to play out. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button, and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with all your friends so they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to Wolverine versus the Vampire Nation. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you thought about Wolverine number 11. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.